All right, we are live. Hey, dude.
Hey man, how are you?
Good. So it sounds like you guys are super busy there. We'll only talk for about 15 minutes so you can get back to launching stuff here.
Thanks. I see you have like some scruff. That's unlike you,
Is
isn't
it? I
it?
feel like it grow. It's maybe it's only noticeable because I have lights on, but I'm usually I usually only try to shave like once a week or 2 weeks. I'm very lazy with the shaving.
Uh-huh. Got it.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know. Didn't sleep a ton this weekend. I mentioned before the show the baby hasn't been sleeping good, so we that kind of stuff. And then just
Yep.
busy, lots of projects going on.
Yep. I hear you.
Um,
I
but
hear you.
yeah, so everything's going okay. You guys are launching. Is it tomorrow, basically, kind of the first people?
Yeah, we're gonna send out some invites tomorrow, and then a few more Wednesday, and then a few more Thursday, and then probably pause. So we don't have any major swarms of traffic over the weekend, so people can recover a bit here, and then next week hopefully we'll be able to open the door for everybody, assuming there's no big stoppers, anything that we just didn't foresee or performance issues or something we missed somewhere. But yeah, that's the plan. So we are psyched. Everyone's in town, and we're ready to go.
Cool. Have you done so? That's interesting, though. We actually have you kind of slowly rolled out features before in the past? Like, have you guys ever used any kind of like feature flagging system or anything in place over there?
Um, we we I'm trying to think. We explored that at some point for a while, but for the most part, no. We do have a flag that allows us to roll things out to like 10% of the user base for performance, like metering and stuff like that. But we don't typically do that for. We do it occasionally, but it's not something we do all the time. This is going to be more for what we're going to do is we there's a waiting list of people who signed up to be notified when Basecamp 3 is launched privately here. So we have a long, huge, long, mega 1,000-person list, and then we're going to select. I'm just picking a number here, 100 or something on the first day. Send out an invite code to those people. They can enter the invite code at a special URL, and then they can sign up. But no one else will be able to sign up until they get the code or until we open the door. But the product will be available to everybody who has the code. So it's not like we're feature gating anything. It's just if you have the code, you're into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm curious. Did you have any thoughts on feature gating? Do you not like to do it, or are you just haven't? That
For
just
what
hasn't
reason?
been
You
a
mean for
priority?
like testing something live?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, we have sort of done it in the past. We just never really built a system to do it. So
Hmm.
it's kind of one-off things. But for the most part, we just launch things when we feel like they're ready, and they just go out to everybody.
Right.
So we haven't really done a whole lot of we haven't used that feature that often.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we have something for you. Um,
Hey, yeah,
we
I mean, I'd like that. Sorry, something was in my ear. I'd like that idea. Um, we typically wouldn't do it for a long, I don't think, because then there's different there's different, like, support has different burdens, and it's sort of complicated for everybody. So we might
Right.
do it for a day or two or something. Yeah, we might want to use whatever you've built for that.
That's
That'd be
interesting.
great.
Yeah, we had a very rudimentary version, and so in Highrise we've been doing this a lot. We kind of bumped into this problem kind of early on. I mean, like this was, Highrise was this thing that we were taking over, and we didn't know it very well. I mean, we knew it a little bit on the outside from some of us who've used it, but on the inside, it's like, man, like we touched something, we don't actually know maybe of the repercussions that could happen.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we also don't know the workflows that people have kind of established. And we kind of started bumping into this, like, oh man, we did not predict this would be a problem. And we don't have the resources to do like intensive user testing on showing people kind of mock-ups of like what we're going to do, or preparing them. So it was like, we're going to put stuff out there, and it's just like, this is kind of scary. So we built kind of a rudimentary system that would just kind of flag different links and buttons, and even stuff that was even asynchronous jobs. Like we definitely start flagging all sorts of different things. We're like, let's just run this on 10% of our users, or let's just run this on a bunch of accounts that people have written in and given us they've told us, hey, we'd love to beta test this. So we started doing this, and now we've been doing it so much that like we really want like a better system, because every time we do it, we need to deploy again. So now we've Michael on my team has made a nice system to kind of do this on the fly. So yeah, you guys might get some use out of it. I don't know, maybe this is something you guys could use. We'll be open sourcing this, hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, but someone might get some use out of this.
Cool. 1 second here. Yeah, I think it's something that, I mean, it makes sense for you guys like inheriting a product that exists and not knowing all the inner workings and sort of that. So that makes sense. But yeah, we might be able to use that for sure.
Yeah.
So I think we'll take that. I don't know, is it something that's sort of you could pull out, or?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easily abstractable,
okay.
and I think will fit into your architecture too. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it when the time comes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I had a question for you. If you might be too busy to think about this, because this gets into a little bit of the history of Highrise. But it's so basically like I'll even show this so it makes maybe more sense. Let me get into the area here. So I will share my screen. All right. Do you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
All right. So we have this area here. This is our demo account. This is a settings area in your demo account. And this is private, and I'll change this right after we do this. But like, there's this concept you guys added to Highrise, these drop boxes. And they're basically like these mailboxes you get from Highrise that you can forward or BCC mail into. And it's a really easy way of getting mail from any mail client over in Highrise. Well, there's an area of this where there are 2 checks for security you guys put into this, which is, one, these drop boxes each have like a unique set of digits here.
Yep.
It's like 8 digits.
Mm-hmm.
And this changes. It's a random set of digits. So that's one thing that just protects people from spam. Like nobody, people would have to cycle through a lot of different of these combinations to be able to spam, an account in Highrise. But there's a second check for security, which is these email addresses that you use to send from. Right now I've doubled up here. I don't even really need this, but like this could be my personal Gmail account down here. If I send a lot of personal mail from my Gmail account, if I get a personal message in my personal Gmail account, I can forward it to my Highrise account, but my address would have to appear here.
Yep.
There's like any other email addresses that you use.
Yep.
But so there's like 2 forms of security here. And I'm curious, like, why even bother to go with the second one? Like, was this first one not enough? Like, were you getting people kind of hacking at this, sending a lot of email to random Dropbox?
That's a great question. I'd have to go back, and it's been a long time, but I think what happened was people were, I think, CCing, not just BCCing, but CCing with that address.
Yep.
And what ended up happening was other people were being exposed to that email address, and someone would reply all.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you'd have like a whole bunch of other things that would be showing up.
Yep.
That weren't right.
Yep.
So I think that just like one of those things you don't anticipate happening, but it happened. And then I think it happened one too many times, and we're like, all right, we should just basically have a tokenized tokenized email address. And then if by some chance someone like gets out, or someone CCs it or whatever, or someone forwards an email or something to someone else and it shows up in their address book and is like locked in for some reason, whatever. Well, if they're not sending it from one of the recognized email addresses, then it won't work. I believe that's probably what happened. This is one of those things where like a small percentage of people probably had the problem, and then all of a sudden it stopped being like, we had to have a second layer.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I can see the validity of that because that does happen all the time. Like you forget to BCC, so now all of a sudden a bunch of people have this address. It ends up in address books, it ends up in other mailing lists, and then you end up getting hit with these emails.
Right.
But there's an interesting thing that we're bumping into now, which is like there's a lot of people enjoying auto forwarding mail in right now from Gmail. We've turned on abilities like this inbox, and people are taking advantage of this like in a good way. So like, you know, we've deployed this inbox, you know, now it says it's called good morning. It says good evening right now just because my time zone's all messed up in this demo account. But this is an inbox, and so like people really want to auto forward their mail in, and we're doing it, and we've kind of hacked this because when you use Gmail is smart enough to like give us an additional mail header so that like we can check like, oh, you know, John is emailing support, but we also know that John is emailing support, but it's using my personal Dropbox address. Anyway, it gets into like insider baseball or whatever, or inside baseball.
Yeah.
But that additional check, like actually, it provides like it makes it harder to do this. So like we want to basically like give people the ability to forward all of their mail to Highrise, and because like, let me switch.
Is there a way to do a is Gmail forwarding it, or is it redirecting it? Because there might be a different email header you can look for, right?
Well, so like we want to give people like with any mail server, not just Gmail, but it's like a lot of people who come from like the Outlook world or another mail server, they really want to forward mail into Highrise automatically.
Okay.
And when you do those forwards, you lose that ability to kind of have those extra headers. So all we know when we get that forwarded email from someone, say from someone else's mail account, is basically all we have is the sender, which is a stranger, which is a contact that you may like to have in your address book, and their email, and we know the Dropbox address that was used. So basically, like, we kind of almost have to turn off that second layer of security. And I'm just trying to figure out a good way of doing that for people. Like, is it a setting that you just kind of turn on and off for all of your Dropbox email addresses? Or am I going to do like a separate Dropbox email address that is like, you know, public, or turn off the security? It just becomes like a thing that's a little complexity. I need to figure out how to make it clear, and I'm just kind of debating now.
Well, one thing you could do is you could do a thing where you do have and let's just play this out for a second. You do have another address, okay, that is that like if you know the use case that you're looking at here, which is if you want to auto forward all your email from Gmail or Outlook or whatever, use this address. Like you could even, by having that, you could tie the knot with like the intention, which is I want to forward everything, and giving them this special address to do that. Yeah. Like this idea that like that's actually promoting the thought that, oh, I never even thought I could forward all my stuff over or something like that. So it might be worth doing that. I'm not sure. Also, the issues that we ran into might not be issues anymore. I'm not sure, but I think that's probably why we did that, because those email addresses ended up somewhere else in someone else's address book, and then things were getting in that shouldn't have been getting in. And we're like, well, the only way to prevent that is to make sure that the from address is the same as the person who was intending to send it in. And yeah.
Anyway, okay, this was actually very helpful, because I think you're probably right about why you guys added that. And then by doing this kind of new explicit address and calling out the intention, like, look, here's a special version of your address for auto forwarding all of your mail. Yes. Make sure this doesn't get out, or you will you will lose some control over this.
Yeah, it's like a little backdoor, but it's more than that. It's like it's intent based. It's like you promote this idea now. It's like, hey, some people love to forward all their stuff into Highrise. Great, we set up a special address just for that. It's important to know that this doesn't get out because X, Y, and Z. But here's instructions. Like if you want to forward all your emails from Gmail, here's instructions on how to do that. If you want to forward all your emails from Outlook automatically, here's an instruction for that. So you can kind of build a whole feature around it. And then this is sort of the key that makes it happen.
Yeah. Cool. All right. This was good.
Cool.
Thanks for the chat, dude. We will let you get back to work.
Thank you, sir. Sorry we couldn't do this one longer, but
No problem. We should do more of these just quick ones. Like,
yeah, sure. Either way. Well, thanks for being patient today.
Sure.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Yeah, good luck. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.